What is it like to own and operate a restaurant in the middle of nowhere? Penn Valley, Nevada County, California, somewhere between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe. So today I'm talking to Zach Sterner, who owns 1228 Kitchen there. Zach and I worked together at Soul Bar ages ago. Let's see, some between 2009 and 2017. Zach was a sous chef at Soul Bar, one of the most important people ever to work there. So it's great to catch up with him and talk to him now that he is an executive chef and an owner. Check out his Instagram account, 1228 Kitchen. The food is gorgeous and is absolutely mouthwatering. My name is Brandon Sharp. As an executive chef, I earned 7 consecutive Michelin stars. As an entrepreneur, I own and operate 3 restaurants here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina: Hawthorne and Wood, Bluebird, Proximo. They say that experience is a cruel teacher. She gives you the test first and the lessons later. I created this podcast and the industry standard as a whole so that when you are tested by the restaurant industry, you will have had the lessons and you will know the answers. I also created the Restaurant Launchpad. It is a suite of downloadable digital assets, business plan, pre-opening budget, 5-year pro forma, year one operating budget, and critical path countdown to opening day. Those are some tools that you can use to help get you started on your path towards restaurant ownership and opening day. Click the link in the show notes for access to those. You can also test drive those. There's a YouTube playlist that has a demo video for each of those digital assets that shows you in a screen sharing mode how to use them step by step. So here we are with Zach Sterner of 1228 Kitchen in Penn Valley, Nevada County, California. We are ready to find out what it's like to own and operate and to open a restaurant in the heart of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Stay humble, stay hungry. All right, Zach Sterner, welcome to the Open Your Restaurant podcast by the Industry Standard.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell everybody out there who you are and where you work.
My name is Zach Sterner. I'm the chef at 1228 Kitchen in Penn Valley, California, which is located in Nevada County. It's about an hour northeast of Sacramento.
Okay, so paint a picture of us a little bit further about Penn Valley, Nevada County, California. Are you near Truckee? Are you on the way to Tahoe? Are you halfway between Tahoe and Sacramento? And who's the crowd out there? And what's it like living in Penn Valley?
Yeah, so we're about, I would say about halfway from Sacramento and Tahoe, about 40 minutes from Auburn. And so in Nevada County, we're in a little tiny town called Penn Valley. Some of the bigger towns up here, uptown is Grass Valley, Nevada City, and those are kind of the places that people know a little bit more from this area. But we're located down in a little town of Penn Valley.
Okay, and is this old silver mining country, or what is it historically?
Yeah, it's definitely gold country up here. Gold mining was definitely the history and the beginning of Nevada City and Grass Valley. So, I moved up here about almost 10 years ago now. So a little bit slower pace of life than the Bay Area. So.
Okay. And so tell us about 1228 Kitchen. Is the food on Instagram is unbelievable. It's mouthwatering and everybody should go look at it and then go eat at your restaurant. But are y'all dinner only? Do you do brunch or anything like that? Is it fine dining? What's the point of view?
Yeah, we're just dinner only, Thursday through Monday, closed Tuesday, Wednesdays up here. We started off when we first opened up trying out lunch and brunch and just kind of figured out the location. Just wasn't enough foot traffic around here to really sustain a breakfast and lunch spot, but it really gave us an opportunity to focus on our dinner menu. Technically, I guess we're kind of considered fine dining up here, a little bit more refined food, different things that you don't find up here. So, because we kind of found our little niche as like the special occasion restaurant up here. I would say about 60% of our reservations are either a birthday or anniversary or something like that. So I would say we're kind of like a fine dining special occasion restaurant.
Okay, nice. And when you think back to before y'all opened, in the conversations, if you can remember this long ago, the conversations surrounding opening this restaurant, what was like the hell yeah moment when y'all decided, okay, we're doing this?
My parents moved up here a little bit before I did, and they just were kind of missing a really nice restaurant, a place that they enjoyed to go out to eat. And so they kind of just out of the blue asked me if I'd be interested in doing this. And at the time I was just kind of doing my own. I was private chef in Tiburon and working at my aunt and uncle's bakery for a little bit. And I was like, hell yeah, I've been doing it long enough, and I felt like if I was going to do it for somebody, to do it for my parents and my family, that was a pretty exciting moment about being able to do something special for our family, and then bring something special to this community up here. Um, I mean, as soon as we came and looked at the spot and just the area up here, it was like, hell yeah, we're going to do this up here. Um, and 8.5 years later, I mean, we've really created something special for this community and been a big part of this community.
Awesome. Well, so when you went and found the space, was this the first restaurant space you looked at, or did you look at several? And how did y'all decide on this one?
Yeah, when we were kind of looking all over in Nevada County up here, it wasn't necessarily Penn Valley. We looked at a couple other locations, and they were older buildings, and just there was going to be a lot of work that needed to be done. When we moved in here, it was kind of sold as a turnkey, but it was anything but.
Yeah.
They had no building permits in the building department. They had no plans for this building, so literally everything had to be brought up to code.
Uh,
Put a whole new hood in, move everything to make it ADA. So yeah, we got in here in June. Obviously, this always happens in restaurants where you're looking to open sooner. And it took about 6 months to kind of get this space right, to where we wanted it and what to make it us. But it all kind of worked out. Our grand opening was actually on 12/28 of 2016.
okay. All right. And so, if I remember correctly, your dad is a pretty skilled worker. Did y'all do a lot of the work yourselves, or did you have a contractor? What was that process like?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. My dad and I mean, I was in here ripping carpet out by hand, and
Hmm.
my mom decorating the whole place. Me and my dad. My dad was a cabinet and mill worker his whole life, so we did all the tables ourselves, from raw wood. And yeah, I mean, we did have some contractors doing some of the stuff, like some of the demolition, and obviously for the installation of the hood and the walk-in and that sort of stuff. But I mean, everything else was, me, my parents, my sisters, all helping out to kind of get this place open.
And if I interpreted the website correctly, it sounds like the family nature. It sounds like it's family business into the operational phase. Do I have that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So my dad's in the front of the house, front of the house manager. He's the wine purchaser, the wine guy. My mom's in the back making all the pastries with the help of one of my sisters, Allie. I met my wife here. She's my sous chef now. My other sister, Emily, is a busser here. My brother worked here for a little bit, but he got out quick. But yeah, everyone was here at
So,
one point.
so, so when football season rolls around, and then when Thanksgiving Day rolls around, do y'all celebrate together, or do you go your separate ways for family holidays?
Yeah, holidays have definitely been a little different. Whereas it's not as exciting as get to go see your parents. It's like, okay, I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
go see you again. But I mean, we still spend time together with the holidays and stuff. So it's a little bit different now. Working every day together, but
Yeah.
um, it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I guess looking around at the rest of Penn Valley and Nevada County, and maybe there's a larger competitive set. Is there another niche that you think needs to be filled by a restaurant in your area? And do y'all have any plans to for another enterprise or any expansion or anything?
Um, we always get asked to expand or to move uptown to Grass Valley. It's only about 10 minutes away, but
Uh-huh.
um, there's a lot of good food up here. I feel that if there could be another restaurant up here that could just kind of focus on what they're passionate about and excited about, and to do something unique, I feel like that would do well up here.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's basically what we've done, and that's been our success. A lot of the places up here, I wouldn't say there's tons of competition up here. There's a lot of just your Mexican restaurants, your Italian restaurants, your run of the mill spots. So I feel like there is like the National Hotel up in Nevada City that is doing some nice things. There's the Holbrook Hotel that just reopened. It's like the longest running hotel west of the Mississippi. So they did a lot of work there, and they do cool things there. There's a couple cool small spots, like there's a ham stand that makes all their own charcuterie and sausages and do sandwiches and stuff. And That was kind of one of the reasons why we wanted to open up here, is that we felt that we can bring something different and unique to the community. And I would like to see some more places open up like that, just to make it more of a destination spot for people to come, especially with the amazing hotels like, the National and the Holbrook. Um, so I feel like we could use some more unique restaurants. There is one down in Auburn called Josephine that I really do enjoy, and they're doing some fun things as a husband and wife team. So I feel like we can always up the game a little bit, and it'd be nice to have a more of a food community up here. And I definitely think it's growing.
Okay, cool. So when it comes to y'all's approach to marketing and advertising, do y'all do any paid marketing? Do you do any paid advertising? Do you do local stuff? I know you do social media. Like I said, the Instagram account is fantastic. What do you think? And also, do you think that fine dining restaurants ought to have a different approach to advertising and marketing than casual or fast food or fast casual?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely gonna be some different marketing and different, market that you're trying to hold on to. We don't spend too much money on marketing. In the earlier years, we did some stuff with some local magazines and food magazines and stuff like that. Um, but we really haven't done much marketing financially wise. Facebook has been an awesome tool for us, just to kind of get out to the community what's new with our menu changing as much as it does, just to kind of get people excited about some new awesome things that they haven't had before. So most of our advertising has been word of mouth, which is great
Yeah.
for us. The cheapest way of advertising. So, um, yeah, I mean, we don't really spend that much on advertising. And I think at the beginning, just to get your name out there, I think it definitely is key to kind of have marketing. Where we are now, and especially in such a smaller community that we're in, people know about 1228 Kitchen now, and
Yeah.
we kind of live on our laurels and use the word of mouth as our biggest, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I still believe, and the more I have experience in this industry, the more I believe that word of mouth is really the best way, especially for fine dining restaurants. It's by far the most powerful. People trust their friend much more than they trust in an ad in the paper or on TV or an influencer that they follow on Instagram. And every time I think that we have, so Chapel Hill's a town of probably, I don't know, 65,000 maybe without the students. And then every time I think that we have exhausted word of mouth and everybody in town must have heard of Hawthorne and Wood now after 6 years, I'll be proven wrong. Like this morning, I was running with my workout group, and one of the guys who grew up here said that he had dinner in this room. I'm in the private room at Hawthorne and Wood right now. Had dinner in this room on Saturday night with 13 other guys. It was somebody's 40th birthday party, and they had all either grown up here or gone to college here or both. And he was the only one who had been to dinner here before. And so I was both horrified and delighted in equal measure. But yeah, I do think word of mouth, the product speaking for itself is the most important thing for restaurants. Do you have a sense of tourists versus locals, that split? And when it comes to your guests, are y'all, part of the tourist route, either to, I don't know, destinations in and around Grass Valley or towards Tahoe?
Um, I would say no. The marketing for the county or the cities definitely lends more towards Nevada City and Grass Valley. Um, I kind of see Pentucky. We call it Pentucky down here. That it's like the redheaded stepchild sometimes.
Got it.
But with that being said, when people are coming up here to go to Grass Valley or Nevada City and asking the concierges or people around town, um, 1228 I know gets mentioned a lot of, not to miss spots while you're up here. Um, but I mean, our local community is Lake Wildwood, which is about 5 minutes from us. It's about 5,500 people. I would say about 10 to 15% of our guests come from Lake Wildwood, and then another 50% from Nevada City, Grass Valley. But then people are coming up from Sacramento and Auburn, and coming down from Truckee and Reno and stuff too. So I mean, it's pretty awesome to hear these people when I get to go out and talk in the dining room about where they're coming from, and they heard it from their coworker and they drove up from Sacramento, and then later that week they bring their whole family up from Sacramento to come check us out. So Yeah, we're not really much part of the tourist um, genre, I guess, but
Hmm.
uh, we definitely will pull from grassroots.
Sure, sure. Well, one thing that I saw on your Instagram that was not a food picture was you with your arm around a young man who I believe the caption said it was his last day there, and you had spotted him just in the dining room. He was a guest, and he had some interest in working there. It looked like he went on to have a successful tenure with you. So when you are not working with family members, what are and I'll assume that there's a relatively small talent pool in Nevada County. So I will ask the question as what are the characteristics of the cooks who become successful in your kitchen?
Yeah, so being self motivated is my biggest one. You can always teach skill, but to teach passion or hard work, you just can't do it.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, with guys like Steven from that post right there, never had to ask, not having to ask twice to do something, never having to watch him standing around. So, being self motivated, having integrity, um, having your ego in check when there is criticism, wanting to grow, and just being an overall nice person. We're such a small knit group here that you got to get along with everybody. But the biggest thing for me is just self motivated and passionate, and the rest can be taught.
Yeah. That's interesting, and that makes me smile, and I'm getting goosebumps a little bit because those are words that, I mean, you're basically describing yourself, at least as I remember you, as a self-motivated, self-driven, cook, and then sous chef. And so, it's thrilling for me to look at your Instagram page and see you on there and see all this beautiful food that you're producing. And so I'm proud and I'm impressed, first of all. But I also, want to ask, as you now that you've been an executive chef for years and years and years, who are you looking around? Who are you looking at? Either I guess locally in the San Francisco Bay Area or Napa Valley area that you're impressed by, or whose restaurants you like to eat at, or who do you look for? For inspiration for other chefs or entrepreneurs.
Um, I've never been a big like fanboy of a lot of chefs. Um, I mean, when the first time you called me to let us know that we got a Michelin star, I had to Google what a Michelin star was. Um, I just love being in a kitchen and the atmosphere of the restaurants. And I mean, getting to work at Solage is definitely a career defining moment for me. I mean, definitely, I like to go out to eat. I mean, I went to Manresa a couple times, and I really liked what David Kinch was doing
Uh-huh.
down there. I mean, Corey Lee at Bennu, that meal that I had there was amazing. The laundry
Sure.
was amazing. So there's not really like a chef out there that um, I idolize, really. I
Uh-huh.
think there's a lot to learn from everyone, and I think with the age of social media now and kind of being able to see what a lot of chefs are doing in one platform and just to kind of get inspired overall as opposed to just kind of pigeonholing to one or two chefs. But um, yeah, it's I don't really have like someone that I just kind of geek out about or uh,
Well,
obviously
do
I respect.
you Do you, but you're, I think one of the issues with all the, not just the photos, but the demos and everything that's available on social media now is that a lot of food starts to look like similar, whether it's the tip that all pastry chefs are using in 2023 or something like that. So, and so I don't, but, I look at your page and I don't see anything that looks like you chasing any of the trends out there, which is, we all got to get our spark from somewhere. And so do you just like look into your bank of knowledge and your collective unconscious? Do you see what is coming in the back door from the farms and the produce company? Where do you draw your inspiration from, and then how do you compose those beautiful dishes?
Yes, I mean a lot of it when like you do something for long enough, you kind of figure out what works and what doesn't, and that's kind of been my thing is that I'm not trying to copy anybody else, and everything that comes out from 1228 Kitchen is kind of the expression of me. Um, yeah, I mean we work with a company up here called Produce Express that deals a lot with like local Sacramento area produce, and I mean there's so much produce, the farm to fork capital they call Sacramento. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of pulling from, you know, I'll take little bits from here and there of places that I've eaten or my experiences at the restaurants that I worked at. I'll say it again, like Solage was huge for me and kind of opening up to what, fine dining can be. And with this restaurant here, and I've worked for chefs and gotten inspirations, but um, yeah, it's just kind of me pulling from what I like to eat
Mhm.
and what I'm excited about, or I see a different technique that I see a chef doing, or and wanting to elaborate on that and just make it myself. So um, yeah, it's just basically, I don't know. People always ask me that question all the time. How do you think of this stuff? It's
Yeah.
like I don't know. It
Yeah.
comes out.
Well, yeah, I apologize. It's almost as bad of a question as what's your favorite thing to cook. That's the one that I
Yeah.
like the least.
All in it.
What? Well, if you can think back again, back to the opening process, I want to ask one more question about that. So, either as opening that restaurant as the executive chef, either what was the steepest part of the learning curve of that part for you, or what was hardest to get across to the people that were working for you or working with you that you realized, but it was just like, come on, like what was the heaviest lift of the opening process?
Um, well, with the food aspect of it, we were definitely doing things that were different up here. So just finding that right balance of what I wanted to do to with what we can get away with almost. We wanted to be approachable for people. We didn't want people to be intimidated by the restaurant. So, I mean, we started off when we opened up we were doing lunch and dinner. So, I mean, having sandwiches on the menu, but just, really awesome sandwiches, like a tandoori lamb sandwich on the grilled garlic naan bread, or,
Hmm.
we are doing our pork belly banh mi, but we did like these twice fried, crispy potatoes because everybody likes fried potatoes. So
Yeah.
stuff like that, or our Thai fried chicken or something like that. People can see those kind of things and work towards that. Um, Definitely with being the executive chef and the managing aspect of it, I made a lot of mistakes from opening, and with the stress of it being my family's restaurant. My parents are the owners. And being all their money invested in this restaurant, it was really scary for me. And in the earlier years, I definitely didn't handle my stress well, and um, but that's been a growing moment for me to kind of realize my actions and their consequences, and um, growing that way, because it's hard. I mean, a lot of the people up here, the cooks, the servers, have never, probably a lot of them haven't even eaten it at a fine dining restaurant. So to really understand what the service needs to be like, what the food needs to look like, the consistency of everything, um, it wasn't what a lot of our staff were used to. So that was
Yeah.
definitely a big hurdle of, we just don't throw stuff out just because we're busy. The first guest is just as important as the last guest. That saying. So kind of teaching our staff a different level of service, as well as our guests a different level of service. That was definitely the biggest hurdle, but we've definitely grown and feel like.
Nice. Yeah. Well, looking at your website and seeing the best of, best of, best of, best of, best of year after year is certainly, testament to y'all to doing the right thing. Um, so what about, when you close your eyes, given unlimited resources, what restaurant would you create and where?
Where is a hard question, just because I haven't traveled a lot.
Mhm.
Definitely, I feel I'm very glad that we opened up in Penn Valley, and what we've done for the community up here. And I mean, we make it a special place for people that are excited to come. Some people have second homes up here, and they're excited every time they're up here. They're eating here. But I
Yeah.
feel like a bigger market, whether it be down in Sacramento, um, or just a bigger city with a lot more clientele to pull from, I feel that I've kind of had to. I still am doing my food, but then we also have to find the right balance of portion size as well. And sometimes when you have to give these bigger portions, so people don't feel like they're getting gypped, um, the presentation, I feel our food is still, beautiful, I feel. And but if I had the choice to have like a smaller spot with just a tasting menu only,
Mhm.
still kind of doing that our same sort of food, just a little bit more refined, and kind of forcing people through a progression of what I feel that how they should eat our food,
Mhm.
and to experience 1228 to the fullest, especially with most people coming out maybe once or twice a year for to celebrate, to kind of get um, the full spectrum of what we can do here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And so, Hawthorne and Wood is not a tasting menu restaurant. And, when we worked together at Soul Bar, that was not a tasting menu restaurant either. And, even though one of my arguments, I used to write letters, honestly, to the Michelin Guide and say, look, it is way harder to do Michelin star level food doing only three courses because a tasting menu item that's 4 to 6 bites, and so each bite is great. But if we're having to put out entrees that are 18 to 22 bites, you get diminishing returns with each bite, and so you have to be even more conscious of temperature contrast, texture contrast, the contrast of sweet and sour, hot, all of those things that make a dish interesting after 22 bites, after as opposed to just after 6 bites. So I feel you on that one, and yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. So as you approach your work week, as you approach the menu, how often does your menu change, and how do you structure your time throughout the week?
Yeah, my time here, it's been interesting. I definitely put in a lot of hours here. Um, and I mean, through the week, I mean, I'm here from about, 8:39 in the morning till about 9 at night. Um, and I mean, it's obviously a big prep, and we have a small crew. I have one morning guy, 4 days a week, so he helps out with some stuff, and then I only have my wife that works at night, and then two other cooks. So it's a pretty small kitchen crew. So definitely, I'm still doing a lot of the bulk prep stuff, and I forget what the other part of the question was there.
What about the progression of the menu throughout the seasons? How do y'all roll with that?
Yeah, so the menu, I mean, there are a lot of farms up here, and there are some that I work with. But the scale of that we're doing and the amount of food that we're putting out has been kind of difficult over the years to focus on one farm. But with a company like Produce Express, has been really awesome, and they're very vocal and communicative with what's coming in, what's leaving. If there's special products that they're getting in, they don't announce it to the general public. They kind of let me know what's coming in. So I mean, that's basically when our menu changes. It's just whenever something new and seasonal comes out, that's what we're changing the menu. Then we're all kind of working together and talking about, with things coming up, with what are we going to do with summer squash when it hits? What are we going to do when tomatoes hit? What are we going to, just like a lot of chefs do, just focusing on what's seasonal, and just kind of realizing that, like that's the star of the dish. So we just kind of we'll focus on a few of those ingredients, and then just kind of whatever we're excited to do or try something different. That's kind of how we change our menu.
Mhm. Okay. So I've worked with a whole lot of chefs who, have their marriages or serious relationships have broken up over the amount of work that they did, or the type of work that they did. I think everybody knows that there are certain professions, cooking being one of them, that put on a special strain because of the hours and the pressure on serious relationships. Now, Elizabeth and I are so we work together in the sense that she's out there working in the dining room right now, but she does all the design for the restaurant. She does the marketing. She does the charitable outreach, as well as some other stuff. And she has a restaurant past. And she will be on a future episode of this podcast when we talk about maintaining a healthy relationship when one person's a chef and the other one is sometimes a culinary widow. You work side by side with your wife 5 days a week, but y'all are still long hours and in an intense work environment. Do you have any advice for those out there in industry land to maintain healthy relationships while also working, as you said, at least it sounds like 65 plus hours a week?
Um, Yeah, it takes a lot of communication, just like any relationship, not just work. Um, and in the same aspect with my whole family being here as well, it's been a blessing to have family here, but there's also been a lot of stuff that wasn't a blessing.
Yeah.
Um, and it's hard when you're so close to somebody and you're a little bit more open to express your feelings, I feel like. So just being open and to be able to communicate and, I mean, to find little things like with me and my wife, if there's something we're starting to kind of, it's a busy environment, we start to kind of maybe get at it a little bit just to kind of like, give each other a touch or something and to say like, everything's okay, we'll figure this out.
Mhm.
I mean, that has been the one nice thing about my wife being here is because I know a lot of chefs that are just working these long hours and never get to see their wife, never get to see their kids.
Yeah.
So that's been a blessing to have her here. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work. It takes strong people to make those things work. But I feel like what's worked the best for me is when there are issues to just to communicate and therapy is your friend.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. Thank you. All right. Last question. What's going on with the San Jose Sharks these days?
No, I don't want to talk about it, Chef. They have
Well,
a bright,
you wouldn't
they have a
believe it.
bright future. They have a bright future. I'll say
Bright
that.
future. A lot of draft
Yeah,
picks,
they
huh?
got a lot of draft picks, some young kids. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll see. They were dominant for so long, still without a Stanley Cup. So
Uh,
um, yeah,
well, when I was with you in Napa Valley, I didn't know it, but I was in hockey country, and believe it or not, I'm in Chapel Hill, and apparently I'm in hockey country. I think the Canes are in the conference finals or something like that. So,
yeah, they are. So,
all right. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. It's great to catch up and great to talk to you.
absolutely. Good talking to you too, Chef.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.